focuses, and these traumatizing experiences matter, you know. They can grind you up, and you know, you're just tired of getting out of the work in the morning, you know, but at the end of the day, you're like, you can't think of doing anything else but making games. I can't go back to another reality. This is my reality. I have no exit strategy. And, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with this industry. You can tell by my dialogue. But, you know, I still love it with all my heart, and I enjoy the process. I enjoy the creative process. I enjoy watching people grow in their own craft, whether it's a sound designer, whether it's a junior programmer becoming a GPP, a really skilled GPP. One of the first programmers I ever met went on to become the source code programmer on Spyro the Dragon. He went on to, oh my God, I can think of a number of other games. Saints Row, a bunch of other games like that. There was an IT manager who was just, you know, an IT person who was making, I worked with him on a product a long time ago at a developer, and became good friends with him and helped him, you know, even though I'm just a designer, I don't have any advice I could give an IT manager. But I encouraged him, and now he's been at Blizzard for 10 years, and Blizzard South. And it's really cool to see those things, you know. So like, all of these people sitting next to you, you may end up working with them. Really. And they may end up working for you, or you may end up working for them, you know. And it all comes around. It's a small world. The karma is really, really much alive in this industry, and I approach it from that aspect. You know, I'm sorry to get all spiritual. I didn't have a bunch of spreadsheets for you guys to look at, or diagrams, but, you know, at this point, you know, GDC is wrapping up, and you guys have seen everything. You heard everything. But, you know, if there's something you can take away from this, I hope it's this, and I hope it helps you. And it's, even though it's a little shot in the arm, it might get you a little further down the path. Because at the end of the day, it's all about attitude, and it's all about you managing it. And I'll say one last thing for designers. Here's a horrible reality that you're going to have to deal with if you're new. No matter what you do, and no matter what you say, everything is your fault. No matter what. And if you don't believe me, wait till you go and interview somewhere else. So in that respect, that's why it's important to connect to all of your team members, because sometimes the greatest skill that you can have as a designer is diplomacy. And understanding how to work with people and understanding how to communicate with them. You know, even if you're an introvert or an extrovert, you know, the designer that I answer to has 45 years of experience. He is like a guru on the mountaintop. To me, he's, you know, but the thing is he talks like an ordinary, everyday person. And he's amazing. You know, and we just talk normally. We had an hour and a half long Skype call last night, because we haven't talked in about a week and a half, and we just caught up. You know, and he was the lead designer, one of the contributing designers to Joust and Sinistar, and we're talking old school Atari coin-op games. And you know, we were just talking about where we are in the industry, what's going on in the studio right now, and then reflecting back, blah blah blah. And it was really nice, you know, because it was cool to sit there and have a conversation and an answer to the guy who basically, I grew up going to arcades and playing the games that he designed, and here I am today, standing in front of you, working in India, you know, hopefully helping you get further down the path. But just remember, it is your fault if you're a designer. It is totally your fault. But focus on managing those relationships and focus on managing expectations. You'll find that if you keep your communication lines open, you talk with your producer, you manage that expectations, let him know every step of the process. You know, and let them know your doubts. You know, in other words, include them in the design process. Include everyone around you in the design process, and you'll have team buy-in. And that, you know, my bald head. Sorry about that. It's kind of scary. You know, then you have a team buy-in, and then that's really what we call stakeholder investment. You know, when you have your CEO, even though your CEO may be a destructive power in your mind, if you invest him into the design process, you are much better off than trying to keep him out. Because then he or she, whoever that CEO is or whoever that senior manager that you're dealing with, if you don't include them in the design process, they become scared, they become terrified, and then they start micromanaging you. And then you're in, you know, it's all downhill from there. You know, just come back to those relationships and focus on those, and, you know, remember that the player comes first, and I think you guys will be much better off. That's all I have to say. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you, Randolph. That was pretty emotional and heartfelt. Yeah, really. I mean, I was just holding back. But can you spend a minute? Would you take some questions? Anybody has questions? Yes, please.
Sharing ideas with team members. What if they someone steals our idea and get credit?
It happens.
How we can avoid it? Means because we have to share and take their knowledge also, but backstabbing is there already.
This is true. But the thing is if you live more in fear of being stabbed in the back, then basically you're holding back your best ideas. And if it's your idea, then no one else can design it better than you, right? So if you're in a situation where you're afraid if someone else is going to steal your idea, then that idea sits in a hole, right? I am guilty of this myself. I saw game design nearly 20 years ago when Quake came out and the first Team Fortress came out. And I envisioned an idea where I could give progression to individual characters and actually have persistence and then have different abilities. And then what do we have? The trailer for Overwatch comes out, right? I'm like, oh, I held on to that idea. Ooh, it's so good. And then some synchronicity will happen. Somebody else will do your idea if you don't. And they'll do a bad job of it. And you'll be gnashing your teeth at night going, I could have had that money. That was my money. And I could have made everybody, blah, blah, blah. But, don't hold back. Because the more you hold back, the more it just holds you back. That's, yeah.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Questions? We have a little time. Okay, we're done. Okay, Randolph, thank you very much. That was really, really heartfelt. And
Thank you, sir.
all right, thank you.